This is the 20th season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, AFTCO, Pro Guide Batteries, Spro, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good evening, and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about bass fishing. It is a special edition BTL. As you'll notice, someone in the background. That is the one and only Travis Manson from Smallmouth Crush. Up in New York right now, just fished the Bassmaster Open on Lake St. Clair. Thought going into that tournament that it would take about 18 and a half, 19 pounds a day to cash a check. So I went out and I caught 18 and a half, 19 pounds a day. Felt really good about it. And then it took about like 21 and a half to cash a check. So pretty unbelievable fishery that there is. You can feel free to join me, Travis.
Yeah.
What were you doing?
100 best Great Lakes shipwrecks. And it's fascinating. You can look at the ship, they talk about where it went down. This one went down between False Duck and Main Duck Island. 5 people lost their lives back in 1880.
You think that's still out there because the water's so cold? It would have to be out there, right? It would absolutely have to be out there. Yeah, so I fished the Bassmaster Open on Lake St. Clair. First time I had been there fishing. And have you ever gone into a tournament, Travis, and you just drastically underestimated what it would take to do well? 3 pounds is pretty drastic.
Oh. Yes, definitely had it there.
Yeah. That was the case with me. There was a group of fish that were in that 4.5 to 5 pound range. And what always amazes me, you're a smallmouth guy. We're in the Smallmouth Crush studios. This is actually a collab week of BTL and Smallmouth Crush. We just jumped over from Smallmouth Crush with Epic Eric, with Lead Speed, with Jim Britenbaugh from, he's the New York State record holder for largemouth bass now, almost a 12 and a half pounder out of Cayuga Lake. We're going to talk to those gentlemen, bring Epic Eric in for his BTL debut. But you're a smallmouth guy. That fishery is absolutely incredible. And anybody can catch them up there if you look at the weights from this past open. But what amazes me is how much better the smallmouth guys catch them. Like the guys you would expect to do well. The Shakurets, the Seth Fighters, the Jamie Bruces. Like those type of guys. Like the guys who catch smallmouth always seem to catch a better caliber. And I would put you in that group now. I mean, you're a full-time smallmouth bass guide, among other things, which we'll get into later this week. But why is it that everyone has live scope, everyone has multiple transducers, but the smallmouth guys who you look at and go, that's a smallmouth guy, always seems to be able to catch a 4.5 when the other guys who are really good catch 4s?
All right. Bobby Lane and Chris Lane. We got a tournament on Lake Okeechobee. I go down there. Where do you think I'm going to end up? Right?
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, you have your little niche.
So there's that much little difference in nuance, even though smallmouth bass. But I still feel like you can flip in front of a largemouth and it may or may not bite. But a smallmouth is going to bite.
I just feel like...
Is that a valid question?
Yes, but...
Like, what gives the smallmouth guys the edge over just the really good fishermen who have to fish for smallmouth 3 or 4 times a year?
Well, that's what you just said, 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah, we got to put that close.
I'm sorry. Experience. Time on the water and experience, I think, is what it comes down to.
It sounds tinny. Do we need to change the...
Okay. You can go to settings, check the mic, and make sure it says... Yeah, we're good. Should be good. We should be good. Let's talk a little
closer.
We're closer together.
Because I can put this out on podcast. You put Smallmouth Crush out on podcast?
Not yet.
Why are you not on there?
Well,
It's 2024.
I know. I don't have an intern anymore.
Oh, yeah, you did have an intern. It said, yeah, the audio is real.
I'm sorry, guys. Let me know in the comments here. It's good. Everything's good. That's the right.
You don't want to automatically adjust the mic gain?
You can do that.
You could do that.
Go all the way up there. 190.
Go all the way up there. Let's reduce the mic that. Oh, how about that?
How's that, guys? Let us know in the comments, please.
A little bit better on that. Sounds shallow. Our audio is still not good. We're going to work with it. It's all good. I wonder why, because it's the same settings that you have for
just
your
literally
show,
left
literally
our show and had no complaint.
Oh, there you go. Sounds better.
All
All right. So that's what we did. So here's what the plan is. We're going to bring in a number of guests tonight, and the first one, who I'm excited to introduce to the BTL audience, he's kind of like one of those dudes. Like I didn't want to like have him on because he's like a smallmouth crush guy.
No, everybody advantage of the situation.
I don't. I have not taken advantage of that
respectable
situation.
people do not, but a lot of people will grab him over me. You know, he's got way better personality.
Epic
People
Eric,
want to hear what he has to say.
Eric.
There's only a small section of people that want to hear me ramble about, you know, realities and Bigfoots and fishing. If you tune into Eric, you're going to get bait hacks and, you know.
Yeah.
Eric, what is your last name? Like Guadalajara or something like that?
it's Galasso, man. Galasso. Guadalajara. Isn't that a species of bass?
You're an East Coast guy.
I am, man. Yeah, man. Potomac River's my home river, right? Maryland born. Actually born in DC while living in Maryland, technically, right? But yeah, man, grew up here, man. This is home, man. Maryland, bro.
Okay. So we're gonna get into that a little bit later in the show. But here's what we did with Collab Week. We had Smallmouth Crush that kicked off at 8, and I want everybody, if you're listening to the replay of this, go back and watch the replay of Smallmouth Crush from the 15th. Today's the 15th, right?
Yes.
From the 15th, and we had Len Speed and then Jim Britenbaugh on, who caught a 12:30 something.
35.
12:35 out of Cayuga to set the New York State record, which was like 11 something. Smash it by over a pound. There's Jim. Jim, thanks for jumping on BTL. Greatly appreciate it. And
Thanks,
there's Les, who we've established is a diehard angler and also Jim's hype man and PR expert.
Social media mogul right there. Yeah.
Agent Len.
Len's job is going to be to kind of describe the scene that went down after. So if you guys want to know about the catch, how it went down, all that in great detail, listen to the Smallmouth Crush replay. But for now, Jim and Len, and we'll start with Jim, give a 2-minute synopsis of the catch, what it was, and how we ended up here. And then we're going to take a deep dive on BTL into what happened, because we kind of left Smallmouth Crush on, you got this 12-pounder in your live well now, and you're trying to figure out what the hell to do.
Yeah. So
take it away, just a brief synopsis, Jim and Len.
yeah. So just a brief synopsis. Up there on Cayuga, practicing for a team tournament. Found an area on maps, and from a little bit of history that I really wanted to check out. So put a little bit of time into it. We roll in, we fish off of this point out in some mid-depth grass. Start catching some quality fish, and then just on a random cast, man, close to the boat, got the hit. Set the hook. Didn't even think it was a bass. It was very powerful. I thought I had a catfish, carp, something like that. And so this fight ensues. That's all covered over on Smallmouth Crush. We had some other competitors around that were practicing that same area, so we were kind of trying to be discreet, but couldn't really be fully discreet. So fought the fish for a while, got it up next to the boat. My buddy Dave Ruark, who couldn't be on tonight, came in clutch with an awesome net job, and we flipped this beast into the boat. And it's just a lot of disbelief.
All right. So it was at that point that you FaceTimed Len.
Yep.
And Len, that was the first time you got a look on FaceTime. Like, were you thinking Jim's over exaggerating? Were you thinking, my God, it's a state record? Like, what was going through your head when you got the first look at this thing on FaceTime?
Yeah, so Dave FaceTimed me, answered or called me, said, "Listen to this. This is Jim's most important call of his life." And I hear in the background, like the menu playing, and then I hear Department of, and I couldn't hear nothing else, and then New York, and I'm like thinking something happened. I'm like, okay, well, something happened with the boat, or so Dave, all Dave says to me is 12.22 because they weighted on his scale and that's what it came up as. And I was like, no way. I was like, you're telling me you have a fish that's 12.22? And he's like, yes. And I'm like,
wow.
I was like, how? And so he was like, here, I got a FaceTime you have to show you. He was trying to call a couple of the other club guys and they weren't answering. And he was like, I have to tell somebody. You have to show somebody. And that's when he called me on FaceTime and turned the camera around, and Jim just had this slob just plopped on his lap. And his face, he was just like looking at the camera, had no clue what to do. And I'm like, holy, yeah. And it was crazy. It was nuts. And
unreal.
Then met them back at the ramp when everything else went down, which I'm sure we'll go into.
You need to get more in the picture here. You're kind of out of screen.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, get over. There you go. Yeah, no, you're
Yeah,
back.
I did not. I definitely didn't think it was 12. Never seen a fish that big in person ever, let alone on like a FaceTime. I mean, the pictures can't really ever do justice, but FaceTime is. I was like, holy crap.
So, Jim, what was the vibe in the boat when you first got it in the boat and you got your hands on it? Because you literally just like landed it, you got it in the net, but like, what was going through your head? Are you thinking double digit? Are you thinking PB? Are you thinking state record?
Yeah, so kind of with some of the stuff I covered over on Travis's podcast, when we got the glimpse of the girth of that fish, the whole attitude in the boat changed from that point on until it hit the carpet, right? It went from, oh, it's a good one, to, oh my God, this is serious. Like, we need to play this right. And, Dave was at the ready with the net, and he was like, oh my God. And I was like, we got to stay calm, man. We got to stay calm. So, once we got it into the boat, we were actually, for the first couple minutes, trying to be somewhat discreet. Like I said, there were some other competitors around, so we kind of flopped it down into the cockpit, and we were saying things to each other that after the fact we had a conversation, and we don't remember anything that we said. It was just a bunch of gibberish, right?
You were numb, no doubt.
Yeah, 100%.
Did it fit in the live well, like straight? Was it curved? I mean, what kind of live well do you?
I kind of had to put it in at a little bit of an angle just because of how deep its body was.
Yeah.
So, after that initial kind of shock and awe, we were like, all right, we need to put this thing in the well because we have to get a weight on it. First thoughts, because like I said on the other podcast, Dave is a hammer. He's been around a lot of big fish, and he's even like, I've never touched or seen anything like this in my life. So,
wow.
There was a lot of speculation, and after a few minutes in the live well, the competitors kind of, made their way through the area. We had a guy come by. He was checking docks, and there was some docks nearby that he was looking at. So once they got down the bank a ways, we pull out my scale, and I just have like a middle of the road Rapala digital scale. we threw it on there, and the first number we saw was 12.08. And I mean, Dave and I, we immediately came unglued when we saw that number, because obviously, I was thinking, my first initial thought was, okay, we're talking at least 8. And then after I grabbed it and we put it in the live well, I was like, I think it's a double digit. I didn't really wrap my head around the possibility that it was a potential state record. So after we got my weight, Dave pulled his phone out and he said, I have to check to see what the current New York State record is. So, shot a quick search on the Google machine, and we saw that it was at 11.4, and at that time it was bedlam in the boat. So just
hugging, high-fiving, yelling.
Oh, yeah. Hugging, fist bumping, screaming. I mean, everything, man. Everything was going down. So the only thing that I was a little nervous about was, like I said, my scale is more of like a middle of the road scale. So Dave has a much nicer scale, and he said, "Hey, let me pull mine out and let's just double check this thing before we make a call." So we threw it on his scale, and his read 12.25. So it actually even read a little bit heavier, to my surprise, because my luck, would have lightened up quite a bit. So at that point, it was like, all right, so we have to make a call to the DNR. Yeah, so once we made that call to the DNR, obviously we were calling Lenny. Dave actually had Ronnie Moore's number. He called Ronnie.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah,
cool.
So yeah, it was absolutely insane. We called a couple guys in the club. Lenny was one. Rick Mullen, our club president, we called him as well. And I guess word kind of spread through those guys because, like Lenny's going to kind of get into a little bit. We had a crowd. We had a crowd when we got back to the ramp. But the whole deal with kind of calling the DNR, I've never done anything like that in my life. It was like, okay, well, I'm just going to call whatever number I find on Google, and I'm going to go from there. But the thing that was tough was, I didn't know what county I was in. I knew what lake I was on, but I didn't know what county I was in. So, they wanted specifics like that. And I was like, look, I'm on Cayuga Lake. And I was trying to explain where I was at, because I didn't know if, one area of the lake was one county, another area was a different county. So it took a little while to kind of get through that. But I finally got on the horn with an aquatic biologist, and, he talking to him, he said, he answered the phone. He's like, "How can I help you?" I said, I have a fish in my live well right now, and I believe that it's the next state record largemouth. And he said, "Well, our record's 11.4. What's, have you weighed the fish?" And he said, "Yeah, we had 2 different readings and they were both over 12 pounds." And he's like, "Oh, okay."
Wow.
Yeah. He said, we'll get a conservation officer on the way, with certified scales. And, that he said, give us about an hour and we'll be there.
Dude, were your hands shaking when you went to dial the number?
Bad for probably for, they started shaking when we landed. Well, when I saw the fish,
yeah,
I think they probably didn't stop until well after it was released.
I'm sure, man.
The whole time, man, it was just
adrenaline. You had adrenaline running through your body. That's extraordinary.
Adrenaline. Yeah, man. Adrenaline, some disbelief, I guess, because
yeah.
I was always the guy that wanted to get involved somehow in the industry, and I never thought it would come in the form of a state record.
Sure.
Never in a million years.
Yeah.
So Len, my question is, Lenny, what was the scene like? Like, how fast did it travel? You said there was a crowd there. Like, were people stopping to practice? Like, hey, so-and-so called me and said that Jim has a giant. Because, I've never seen a 12-pounder in person. Have you? You have?
Not up here.
Oh, you have? Well, I haven't even seen one down in Texas or Oklahoma. I've seen an 11.
Okay.
But like, what was that scene like? And then did everyone just like kind of forget that there was a tournament going on because that there was a state record largemouth, and not only a state record, but it smashed it by like a pound plus.
Like over a pound. Yeah. So they said they called the president of the club trying to tell him. And so they called me. I answered. I think I was the only one that answered. So I ended up calling the guy that was with the president of the club, Jason Russell. And he answers the phone. I'm just so excited to tell somebody else now. And I guess they were running to another spot because all I hear is this wind blowing. And he's just yelling. He's like, I'll call you back. It's like, all right. I was like, I just need to tell somebody. So finally he called me back. I told the club president, Rick Mullen. And I guess he called Jimmy. So I think I don't know who else knew while we were out there. A couple people didn't answer. A couple people from our club didn't even get to see it get weighed in. So we got back to the ramp, and I guess for the practice, we had to be off the water by, I think it was 3:00. DNR was there about 2:25-ish, 2:30-ish. So people started coming off. A couple people didn't know really what was going on. They really didn't pay any mind. They just get in their boats. And so the truck pulled up. Jim went to the boat. They wanted to come over and see it first. Like, hey, let's pull it out of the live well. Let's get a good look at this fish. So Jim pulls it out, and the guy of the DNR just goes, "Oh my God."
Oh, wow.
So they got the tournament bag, filled it up with water, took it up to the truck. So the scale they had, they just put it in the back of the pickup truck. A bunch of us were surprised that, one, they didn't take the fish, and two, I mean, I told them right there. I said, "Here's your option to start your share lunker."
Yeah, right.
Here it is.
There'd be one fish in that program for a lot of years. Like,
so they pulled up in the regular pickup truck. I was waiting to see like a truck with a tank of water, but they pulled up in a pickup truck. They took the scales out. I mean, these scales looked like they were from the 70s.
Wow.
They were the one was like a net, had like a little net where you lay the fish on its belly, so it's like looks like it's just in the water sitting on its stomach.
That's wild.
So everybody just gathered around the truck. Everybody's pulling their phone out, and I just scoot in a little bit, and so they put it on the scale, and here it was reading in kilograms, and I for damn sure don't know anything about kilograms. So I'm just clueless. I'm listening to numbers, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. And
what are we in Germany? What the heck?
They're like 56.05, and we're all looking like, what is it? And then they told it. They were like, yeah, that's 12.35, and we all were like, whoa. Wow. So then they put it on the other scale, which was another older scale with the
like a spring style, yeah.
So
old school.
That's really old school.
Yeah, and it met the same weight as the other scale, and
very cool.
They literally were like 12.35 is it's confirmed. Here, take the fish back to the boat, and basically you do what you want with it. Everybody's hooting and hollering, yelling, screaming. Here to find out.
Put it on the wall.
I mean that fish fry must have been amazing, right? It feasted Oliver and I, right? Later it fed the entire club, all 6 of you.
Whole, just gutted with mushrooms and onions in it.
Oh my gosh.
No, but I mean, it was released happy and healthy.
Yes. So we took it down to the boat, and of course the other people that came in late are like, let me see it. We're like, we want to get it back into the live well, get some more G juice on it. So they follow us down to the boat. We give it a minute in the live well, and just one more time, he picks it up, shows everybody. As soon as they walk on the ramp, they're just walking up recording. All wanted to see it, and then finally we put it back in the live well. Talked to a couple people there just about the story, about how it was what it was called on, and ended up leaving the dock. Went out to where he caught it.
And, that's cool.
Yeah, it was like a 10, 11-mile run in the torrential downpour rain.
Oh man, you did that, sir. You did the fish a solid, man. Put her right back in where she belongs. That's cool. That's her
Were
home
you
20.
hoping to just like smoke that thing on Derby Day?
Yeah, so when we released it, I did go out just a little bit deeper because I knew our tournament was going on, and then there was I think it was Empire State. They had a tournament the next that was on Saturday, and that was like an 80+ boat field, and I'm like, man, I'd like to just like let her get down there, find some sanctuary, and just chill, because fish that size, in my mind, it's like, man, that had to have been stressful,
Yeah.
for her, and that's the kind of fish you want to protect. So
how did it seem like? What happened when you let it go? Did it just take off? Did it just kind of?
Yeah, pretty much took off. It kind of chilled for a split second there by the boat, and then it peeled around and headed toward the back of the boat, and straight down she went.
You had a nice video of it, man. I thought you did a great job with the release, man. It's on your Instagram profile, right?
That was the magic of Lenny Speed.
Len Speed right there, man.
His
All
magic,
right.
man, with the camera. Yeah.
It was good stuff, man. I thought that was fantastic. It was great that you did that, because I'm sure a lot of people want to know, is that fish going to be okay? She lives on. So good job, Len.
Yeah, we did everything we could.
So Cayuga holds the smallmouth and largemouth record now. Is that correct?
That's unbelievable.
And
What
the
is
guy
the
that broke
smallmouth
the
record?
Smallmouth record caught it twice now. What are the
What?
odds you're going to catch that one next year?
How big was it, Travis?
I don't know.
8.6, I think. I think it's 8.6.
Yeah.
Odds?
Wow.
I'd be absolutely shocked.
You got to think. I mean, listen, I'm just, the spot. Very few people do. I'm sure some people know. But if that fish was still bloody tailed, it was a late spawner, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you'll have your flogger out next year about 20 days earlier.
Can you imagine seeing that thing on a bed?
I know.
How deep did you catch her? Was she 18? Did you say 18 to 20, or did they get it shallower?
No, she was in 8 to 10.
Okay, gotcha. Because you moved in to the shallower part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, with as girthy as she was, I fully expected the DNR to be like, oh yeah, she's full of eggs, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But when they examined her, they said there was no sign of her still actively spawning. So
wow.
I'm guessing either she was still loafing around, or maybe it's some of the magic of the spot, and maybe I did my homework right. I don't know. But like I said, it was that point that had a ton of deep water right off the end of it. So maybe she came up to eat. I'm not sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Jim, let me ask you this. Are you like a noted big bass guy in the area? Like, do you tend to catch like bigger than average fish, or have the big bass in your club all the time?
No, not really. I mean, since I moved out this way, I started fishing the Bay and the Potomac and some of these other fisheries. It's been a little bit of a learning curve for me, because I had no experience with tidal water. I grew up fishing the Three Rivers and Lake Erie. Now up on Erie,
that fish would have won the Classic, by the way.
Yeah, the Three Rivers
in
Classic.
2005. Just saying,
Right,
that
right.
one fish would have given Van Dam a run for his money.
Yeah,
Well,
true.
listen, man, those rivers are a lot different now. It was funny. I was just FaceTiming my buddy last night, and it's the guy that built the rod that I caught that fish on. And he caught a 5.5 on the river.
That's good to hear.
So
man.
they are in there, and we've caught a lot of them. So
Hey, for the people that don't know, let them know the Three Rivers. Like, it's PA, right? So tell them what the Three Rivers are and how they converge in the stadium that's there. Yeah. I mean,
Allegheny, Monongahela, and the Ohio. And, Allegheny and the Monongahela, they fish a little bit different. I was always a Mon guy, Monongahela, because it was more like flipping and things like that. And the Allegheny was a little more finessey, out in the current kind of deal. It was cool growing up there.
Yeah, that's neat.
Well, we're gonna let you guys go. I greatly appreciate it. Like I said, you probably have to do bedtime. Excuse me.
Hey, Matt, I got a quick award ceremony that I told you about, man. I'm awarding Jim I'm going to do it quick, man, because I know he's got to roll. Jim, you get the first Bass Lab She-Thick Award, man. And
Nice. I like
so
it.
I need to get your address. I'm going to send you the stickers, and you get a Tug Life hat, man. That's from the
Yeah,
Bass Lab,
man.
bro. So, yeah, you got it, man. You get the large and the small size. So, and the Bass
that
Lab,
again,
too. I'll throw that in.
Eric.
Yeah,
Show that
anyway, She-Thick,
I like
man.
it.
Yeah, that's pretty tight bass art. Kyle Lisdell, Goonie Wolf. He's on Instagram. He does all my work, man. But I just thought I'd send you something, man, to remember it by. There you go, man. First
Thanks,
Bass
Eric.
Lab Award. You got it, man. Congratulations
That's
again.
awesome.
Well,
That's
last
awesome.
question, like, what do you hope to get out of this? Are you, like you said, you're trying to get in the industry, you're trying to make some money out of this, you just want to have, like, is there a game plan? Is it just ride the wave for it? Like, everyone has a different game plan when they catch fish. I mean, you seem like a dude who loves to fish. You like to tournament fish, down to earth. You got the power of Lenny behind you. I mean, I feel like the sky's the limit.
You should never have to buy another Cinco in your life.
No, I agree. 100%. You should be on you should be on the GSM radar.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I guess what I hope to get out of it is kind of a little bit of everything that you said, Panger. A foot in the door in the industry would be great. One of the main things right now, one of the main focuses is just trying to get that replica mount done.
Yeah.
Just to have something to remember it by, and also something to kind of show off to people that maybe don't understand, what a fish that size is really like. And something that I'll kind of shamelessly plug myself on is the people that have all interviewed me, and use this as a little bit of publicity for their companies. I've been considering like throwing a Venmo account out there and just saying, hey, look, I helped you guys out, small donation or whatever, just to help cover that cost. And obviously there's also that ride the wave factor. I'm giving Len the whole the reins as far as pushing it on socials and things like that, and we'll see where it goes.
Len, this has to be fun for you. I mean, obviously, if you can't catch it, I mean, you got a buddy who caught it, and you're kind of a part of the story and got to see the fish. That's got to be cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like I was telling him, I mean, 3 people on that day touched a 12-pound fish, me, Dave, and him. So it was pretty cool and pretty awesome of him to give me that experience and let me run with this with him.
Mm-hmm.
Like I told him, I always wanted to do the social media stuff. I've always been just so intrigued in it, but I've never. I don't know. I feel like with a story, it's a lot easier to start it and get it going. So that's what I'm going to try to do here.
Very cool.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this.
Yeah.
Amber S says, live scope fish, wacky fish. Did you see the fish in the grass? Like everyone wants to know that. Was this a scope fish?
First of all, let me make a quick comment.
Not that it matters.
Who cares if it was on electronics or not? Get over it, people.
I do.
I enjoy using it. We're going to catch fish for years to come on live scope.
I think we've touched the sensitive topics, Travis. Why are you so sensitive about it?
All right, done.
It wasn't live scope.
All right, yeah. Here's
God, Jim, it wasn't live scope.
Yours, Jim.
There's hope for the natural guy.
Get this out of it for all. What part did forward-facing sonar play in this catch?
And clip this and post it on the socials because I've been.
Yeah, because it's blowing up, man.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, I'm with Travis. I don't discriminate. Now,
Yeah, right on.
I had my scope on. I was strictly. I'm still kind of old school, right? So I was strictly using my scope to stay on the grass line and to identify kind of which direction it headed when it was in that little bit deeper waters for the stuff that you couldn't see with your eyes. The fish itself, I did not look at on scope.
Amen.
So you didn't scope it.
So I didn't scope the fish. I didn't sneak in there and snipe it or anything like that.
You're a spotlighter, you know it, bud. Come on.
Yeah, the cheater.
You don't deserve that.
Travis,
You wouldn't have known that grass was there if it wasn't.
you're fun. Oh, the grass never. Hey, that
or motors. What's this world coming to?
That grass doesn't show up on 2D. What are you even talking about?
Back in my day, we used a 6.6 pistol grip.
I heard the best one too.
Right.
Is somebody said that we need to subtract 2 to 3 pounds because it's a goby lake. Another good one.
Someone else said that a Cinco is easy to catch them on. So
Yeah.
It's
I
a
wonder how
12.
many 12s they got.
Hey, never mind the fight. Never mind all the gear selection. Never mind the knot that he tied. Tell me, did you tie an FG knot? I'm curious.
Alberto.
Yeah, baby.
Crazy Alberto, man.
I love it, man.
That's my jam.
That's damn right, dude. F that knot. FT. That's what I call it. The FT knot, man. I've gone on a rant on that one on the show. Good, very
Maynard's
cool.
got it right there. Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
The 12 is a 12, man.
Right on, man. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, think about it. You know, all your gear had to be right. The knot had to be good. You had to play the fish. I mean, there's so many things that go into that, right? You had a notion. You were looking at a deep point. You found deep grass. You did your homework. All that stuff is way more important than whatever you had on the front of your boat. You made a good decision in an area where a big fish lived, and you connected with it, man. And you played it right. You didn't panic. You know what I mean? You didn't try to horse it. I mean, and if you watch Smallmouth Crush, you'll hear the details on how that fish was hooked, man. I mean, that's amazing. Everything had to go right. It was your day, man. Congrats.
Too. Like my stuff is never right in practice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you heard the story from Lenny, man. He's out there at 10 o'clock at night, 10:30, 11, with a flashlight in the boat. His stuff's tight, right?
Keep it tight, man. We got to keep
it tight.
It,
man. You know it.
Yeah. You never know. You never know when that chance is going to come.
Right on. And good fluorocarbon too, man. You know? So good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I saw a comment on here said, I think it was from Clay. It said he could cash out on fish tips. I literally brought that
We
up.
talked about it.
I'm like,
I don't know if I want to burn it, but yeah.
I just talked to Austin Neary last night about fish tips. He's about to get on the road with a fifth wheel, and yeah, man. So interesting. I'm really close with Austin. He grew up down the street from me, so
that's
nice.
Anything else you have like burning that you want to get out there? Your social medias, if people want to follow you. Any like a list of companies that you'd be like, hey, like hit us up, XYZ, whatever, like just before we let you guys bounce.
Yeah, list the companies. I've already talked to Yamamoto, so that one's done.
Oh, you have?
Or in the works. In the works at least. Talk to Trocar. I wanna breathe a little bit of life into that one. Jackal, man, that J braid was key. Seagar, obviously, like Eric said, that fluorocarbon was tight. Man, Daiwa, if they'd talk to me,
sure.
You know, all those companies that were involved in that catch. I guess another thing I want to kind of throw out there, because I don't know all the details about the situation, but when you go to that lake and you talk to a lot of the guys that fish that lake, you know, in my videos I gave a lot of props to the DEC for making it what it is. But there's also a threat on that lake too, with spraying the grass and using the additives to kill grass in certain areas. So, you know, maybe this could be a little bit of a platform to kind of speak out about that too. You know, from my understanding, from what a couple guys had said, is that that is mostly controlled by like HOAs and things like that are local to the lake. So if the DEC is not regulating it, they need to start regulating those fish. And anybody wants to follow me on socials, Instagram, it's Jim B Fishing 53. That's the big one I'm pushing right now.
I'll do that.
I think I'll follow. I think I do. Did I already follow you?
I think I got you, Panger. I'm not sure if I got Travis or not. Eric, you on Insta?
Oh yeah, man. Epic Eric Official. It's right there. And or you can send me one at Epic Eric Bass Lab. Either one, man. Send me your address because I want to send you that pack, man. And I'll drop a couple little June bug items in there for you that you probably have never seen, man. So, especially being a river rat, bro. You know, you got to have a couple of river rat. That's me, man. I'll send you some of my favorite river rat things. So let me know what you think.
Lenny, where can people follow you?
Instagram, Bassin_LS. BASSIN_LS. And I do want to give a shout out to my good buddy Will over at Buck and Bass. That ride out there to take that fish out there was pretty brutal, but I came back to the ramp bone dry. So
you're talking about the rain suit, Buck and Bass.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the best
You
made.
want to see how dedicated? It's right there.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Wait a second. I gotta go full screen.
Dedicated.
Damn right, man. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's the logo, bro.
Hey,
Hell yeah.
this show's sponsored by AFCO, and I'm impressed with that.
So, wow.
Where's your
Yeah.
where's your striker?
What?
Where's your striker tattoo? Travis?
Striker. He's got a Bass Lab one, but he can't show you.
How, yeah, okay.
Oh my gosh! All right, guys, we're gonna let you go. Like I said, for the first half of this story, you guys want to know how all this went down, the bite, the fight, the whole scenario. Smallmouth Crush, Travis, Epic Eric, you just did it.
Right on.
A lot of mosquitoes for
Well, the door's open.
a fully enclosed studio.
This loft is above the garage, and the door's open, and this door, you didn't close that door.
Well, look at my leg.
They follow you. Look at his leg.
My
Show
leg
your
just
You won't show me your back, but show me your leg.
gushing blood.
Don't
Oh,
show
God.
Hey, Panger, real quick.
Yes.
I started listening to BTL probably about 8 years ago. And
Nice.
the first couple times I started listening, and I'd hear Jeffries go on one of his rants, I would always be like, "Why is this guy so mean to this kid that's on the show?" And after a while, you got to know how he was. But that was always my first initial thoughts, and I was like, "Man, when I talk to Panger, I'm gonna tell him that." So
Well, I appreciate that. Jeffries
Make sure he
has calmed
sees that.
down a little Jeffries has calmed down a little. He almost just won a big senior bowling event, but he went up against he basically had a bowling event where like he weighed in 20 pounds and someone else weighed in 21. Like he got beat.
Oh,
He bowled his heart out. So,
wow.
but I
That's
greatly
cool, man.
appreciate the kind words. So you guys, you need anything, you need any help. Not that I can help you, but I can put you in contact with someone who knows someone who can help you. So
Very
Nice.
cool.
Awesome.
Much appreciation, everybody.
Yeah, appreciate
You
it.
got it. Nice meeting you, Jim. Good meeting you, Len.
Good meeting you guys.
Yeah, good
See ya.
meeting you guys. Appreciate it. See ya.
Congrats again, man.
Do we get commercial breaks here?
Yeah.
How long?
I can make it as long as I want because we have like a bunch of commercials.
Oh,
Hey, Matt, is the music is still playing in the background, but low. The whole time we were talking, I could hear in my ear. Yeah.
My gosh.
I didn't know if that was interfering with the audio, but anyway,
No,
so
I couldn't hear it at all.
I could hear it just slightly.
Okay. Well,
It's gone now.
that's used.
Anyway.
Yeah. I just turned it off. That whole interview for the last 43 minutes. No one said anything. Could you guys hear oh, good. People said they didn't notice.
Yeah, I guess because I got the earbuds in, I could it was super low key.
I almost flipped out over that live scope stuff.
You
Yeah,
did,
well,
man. You're
let's
sensitive
talk
about it.
Let's
Don't
break
be
down the
sensitive.
interview and let's take a break and then we'll break down the interview and we'll get into the Bass Lab and how you kind of ended up what you do and how you ended up with what you do.
Perfect.
Because I
Right
really
on.
don't know the story and that's interesting. All right, BTL collab with Smallmouth Crush. It is the night of the 15th. We'll be back right after this.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
Gamakatsu, the innovation leader in fish hooks, is launching Nano Alpha technology in 2024. Nano Alpha is a new finish available on Gamakatsu's most popular hook styles. It delivers 2 times slicker performance, 4 times better corrosion resistance. Nano Alpha technology makes the world's greatest fish hooks even better in 2024 to help anglers catch more fish.
Born in Japan, using technology, innovation, and precision, Sunline produces the widest selection of fishing lines at the most technologically advanced line factory in the world. Manufactured at the strictest tolerances to produce victories at the highest levels of tournament bass fishing. From household names like Christie, Swindle, and Cruz, to young guns like Cook, Logan, New, and Welcher, they all trust Sunline to take them to the top of the leaderboard. Choose the line that will give you the strength to guarantee your confidence. Sunline.
Everything you need, one legendary brand. Top one on Strike King. Gear that just plain works. Cast after cast after cast. AFTCO. Any fish, any water.
Your early morning mentality is your every hour mentality. All gas, no brakes. Focus, purpose, power. Destined for the water, but confident everywhere else. A calming buzz before the storm, truth of nature itself. You can't catch lightning in a bottle. There's a limit out there, but it's not with your gear. Unrelenting power delivery. Unparalleled weight savings. Keeping you on the water, whether you run a 9.9 or outscoping your best 5. In this rare air, there's power in the silence. It's a mindset, thinking only of the things that matter and freeing your mind from the things that you trust.
Get the best patterns backed by tournament data. Start by finding the best 10% of your lake. Know exactly what to look for and what to throw. After that, just put them in the boat. Try the Deep Dive app today.
Look at that beast right there.
We are back, BTL, on a Monday night, live from the Smallmouth Crush headquarters in New York, adjacent to the St. Lawrence River, Lake Ontario, joined also by Epic Eric. So
next to the beautiful waters of the Potomac River.
Yeah, so we'll get into your story. Let's break down the state record interview.
Yeah.
Wow.
There are a couple things that fired you up, Travis.
Yeah, the live scope comments, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really sick of it.
Why?
What?
Why?
Well, he didn't catch it on live scope, so why did it fire you up? It did touch the nerve.
Saying that if he did admit to it, then what does that mean? It's not a valid catch? Like that just bothers me.
Look, you have to accept the fact that there is a group of people out there that feel that way. That that's just how they feel. Accept it, move on. And some people think
to ourselves.
I mean, I would say
you just got to accept it. The conversation,
the accomplishments of other people.
Not at all. Not at all. Because you know what? He made a decision to go to a certain area. We talked about it earlier, right? All his gear had to be right. He had to play the fish, right? I mean, the knot had to be good. I mean, all those things prior to any technology being involved, right? He was there for a purpose. He talked about it in the full interview on Smallmouth Crush. So, to me, a lot led up to that moment.
And there's some comments, guys are like, first of all, if you haven't used LiveScope, I don't know if you are prepared to make comments about it. We see thousands of fish on LiveScope every day, and we're lucky to catch one sometimes. You don't always see what you catch, and you don't always see every fish that's out there. It's not like the magic bullet. I
You always don't catch what you see.
I'm so flabbergasted by that comment.
Did you see
good one, Travis? 50 center
Life article? He said when the fish got in the boat that they were flabbergasted, and we all agree that it's probably the most underused. Is that a verb?
It's a good word. It's a great word, man. I think we should name a lure
completely underused.
The flabbergaster. I was using a flabbergaster to catch that 12.35.
Jeffrey
flabbergaster.
Hugger muggered a lot.
Hugger mugger?
Yeah, he's
Hugger
like
mugger.
It was a hugger mugger.
Bamboozled, another one. I never even heard of that. What is that?
Bamboozled. That's like kind of a little bit. Got it. That's a little bit.
Matt's not having an episode. He's going for mosquitoes, everybody. In case you're he doesn't have
there's a
involuntary
finite number of mosquitoes in the studio. So like when you get one, your odds of getting bit actually like statistically go down. But no, I mean, that seems like a feel-good story that happened to a good dude who happened to have a buddy who was like, hey, I know how to do all this stuff to kind of maximize the publicity and maybe get your foot in the door for something that you wanted. And it just seems like a good deal all the way around.
Right on, man. That's good stuff.
Absolutely.
That's good stuff. It's good stuff.
All right. Speaking of good stuff, I've known you, Travis, since before you started Smallmouth Crush.
Oh, yeah.
Way before. Like, I remember we've had
2010
long talks about you're like, man, I think I'm starting this thing and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And you did it. Talk a little bit about like what you were thinking in 2010 when you started it, and then how you ended up with Epic Eric every Monday night.
Yep.
You guys are the odd couple of bass fishing.
I'll tell you my side of the story first. So it wasn't 2010. We met in like 2010-ish when you're covering me on the Elites.
Was that your first year?
Or 11, maybe.
Whatever your first year was, yeah.
You were on the Mississippi River.
Because you only wore a visor.
Okay.
And you had blonde spiked hair straight up.
Right.
Yeah, frosted.
Not from dying.
And you always wore your jersey in restaurants.
And the bars.
And the bars.
Yes. And he frosted those tips.
That's a true story.
And to bed.
Travis, use the lightener.
I was representing.
You use the lightener, right? You use the lightener, you spray in there?
Son, we discussed this on past shows. So 2011-ish, we met, and then it took what? I think I started Smallmouth Crush 2017, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And actually, big time Jimmy, who's a friend of both Eric and I, we would have some talks about, how to make money and do things. And I was running that Annie Ann's Pretzels that we owned at the time. And I remember I was in the back office and he was talking to me about a guy named, what was that? Gene Jensen, Fluker?
Yeah, Fluke Master.
Fluke Master. He's like, look at this Fluke Master guy, man. He's making videos about fishing. I'm like, man, I should do that. And I'm like, do you think it's too late? I'm like, I don't know if I can get in on this. And so I just started videoing my tournaments and BFLs and practice, and I probably made not much back then than I do now. I'm kind of slacking lately, but we're stepping it up, and I'm content where things are going. I love my little community, and I love being able to hang out with Eric every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern doing our live show. We discuss a lot of fishing. We do have guests from time to time. We get into a lot of different topics. Eric and I don't think we're not different. We're actually probably the same.
Odd couple.
No, we're not odd. We're from the same.
Well, Eric is rational, so that makes you the odd couple because you rarely are.
So Travis, tell us a story about how we connected. I think land that plane, because that was the original part of the question for Matt.
So
and you said you'd tell your side. I can't wait to hear how you recall it.
I was practicing for a BFL on Lake Champlain, and my friend Jack called me up and said, hey, I have a buddy named Eric that wants to come up, and he's up in the area for some event with his kids, and he wants to jump on the boat with you for a day. And I'm like, Well,
a half a day. It wasn't a day.
I'm like, I don't know, Jack. I don't really. And he kept being insistent. Like I think he called me the next day.
Right. Didn't you work for Jack at the time?
Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
I really don't want to take anybody out my boat. I'm practicing here,
Yeah. Right.
I don't know this dude.
Sure.
And so I picked him up at the launch. I got
You guys were camping. You were camping with your wife, right?
Camping.
Yep.
And we went out fishing.
Yeah, we fished for like 4 hours, maybe 3. It wasn't long at all, dude. Yeah, Carolina rigged a little bit in some grass, threw some top water. I think I threw a boing lure. You were cranking that rock, getting snagged, and I think I caught a couple on the top water.
Uh-huh.
And then I told you this story about how I went out with that dude and I was jerkbait fishing with him. It was wild. Darren Schwenk was his name. He guided up there at the time. Matt, I'm telling you, this is crazy to me. What's that?
It wasn't Darren Schwenk Beck. It was Darren Schwenk.
Maybe that was the guy, Darren Schwenk Beck.
He wore a hockey jersey. He fished the Elite Series for a couple years. He sank 3 boats in one day on Erie.
I don't know. He's it could be. Look, I don't know, man. But Pete Guzik turned me on to that guy because I'm like, you know what? I'm up there for a couple days. Max had tournaments, a lacrosse tournament. So went out with that guy, and he's throwing the Super Rogue, the big Rogue, the Perfect 10. And it's in this color that just lights up in the water, dude. And he's throwing it on braid, and he's got a old reel. He had like a short little leader of fluorocarbon, and he caught so many big smallmouth on that thing. It freaked me out, man. And every time he would rip it, the gears would sound like they're stripping in this reel. It was pretty wild.
Had to be
Schwenk Beck. And then we Carolina rigged, and we were dragging. We both had the same Carolina rig sinker. Who remembers the Carolina rig sinker that was brass with swivels on the end?
Yeah.
Yeah. And a Zoom Speen Craw and watermelon candy with chartreuse tips, man. We wrecked them. Anyway, it was fun. So that's the first time Travis and I met. Then what happened, Travis?
About jumping in with Travis. Like, did you know who you were going out with, or did you just want to get on the water and it happened to be Travis?
I'd never fished Lake Champlain in my life. It's it was one of the lakes that I've always wanted to fish. I'd never fished really upstate New York for bass. And I'm like, I'm sitting at Lake Champlain. So I hired a guide for 2 days and, watched my son play a bunch of lacrosse and jumped on with Travis for about 4 hours. So, and I knew Jack at that point, right? Because Jack was, we kind of hung out together. He rented my place down in North Carolina in the Outer Banks. We fished together in the Salt. That's when I met Jimmy Big Time. So those 3 worked together. Jimmy Big Time, Jack, who owns the HVAC company, and Travis. I think Travis and Jimmy, what you guys were selling for him at the time.
Yeah.
And thinking about all these crazy business ideas. That's something you should talk about at some point.
Afterwards, you probably reached out. And then the following year, we just decided to go fish the bay together.
Yeah. I think you were trying to learn tidal river systems a little bit. You were still kind of green, a little bit of a rookie out there. Tidal, grass. I don't know if you were guiding at that point, right? And we went out and we shot some early videos, right?
Yeah.
And I remember I had a crankbait box with me. You're like, I need to learn more about crankbait fishing. I showed you, some of my tidal water specialties, and you were intrigued. And then what was the first video we shot together?
No, we had a pretty good day.
Two back-to-back 26, 27-pound days on crankbait Spanger.
Holy cow. Yeah. On Chesapeake?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I took him to some of my cranking holes, which was really cool up in the river. Dude, it was unbelievable. It really was extraordinary. I did catch one huge chatterbait fish. We were going along a bank that's pretty well known, and I'm throwing a chatterbait, and it's one of those little Japanese versions. I hand tied the skirt, which was really cool to me, and threw a little nail polish on the head. And I pulled up a super green chunk of milfoil, and I'm like, whoa, slow the boat down. And I started fan casting and caught one like over 7. That was pretty cool. And then I had one that was probably over 8 on a pole that would have made our bag like 28, 29 pounds. We might have cracked 30 that day if I landed that fish. We just couldn't get to it, Panger. That was extraordinary.
Travis has been known to have some issues with the net.
Anyway, I think those 2 days kind of cemented it, right? Yeah. I mean, at that point, it was like we had fun. Mm-hmm. We were very different fishermen at the time, for sure. And I think after that, it just started rolling, right?
Yeah.
And then the pandemic, that's what really cemented it.
Is that's when you guys kind of took off and started doing it every single week, and you became
every day
a Monday night staple and a show staple on the Smallmouth Crush channel?
Yeah, we streamed 7 nights in a row?
Yeah, for like 4 hours a night.
Yeah, at least 4 hours a night. And I think we broke 1,000 viewers, Panger.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. We must have hit the logarithm right. That was the best.
So go ahead on that. But dude, what is your how did you get into bass? So look, I'll go full screen on this. So
yeah,
if you follow any of the Smallmouth Crush stuff and Epic Eric, you know everything about every bait. You're big into JDM stuff. You're big into history. You're big into custom balsa.
Yep.
I mean, you're kind of a man of mystery. Is that a fair assessment?
If anyone in the comments wants to pick a lure and just type it in.
I don't know about that.
The fourth lure that appears, Eric's going to turn around and just grab it off the wall.
So no, I've always wanted to ask this, but feel free to go in. I would love to know a little bit about your background, how you became so knowledgeable, how you got into the game, that type of stuff.
Yeah. Well, it all started here, man, with the Fisherman's Logbook. So
you didn't even know I was going to ask that question tonight, Eric.
When I was a kid, I was a paper boy. So I had a paper route, right? I delivered the News American and the Baltimore Sun. And I also picked up golf balls on the golf course. I was the range boy. So I made $40 a week gross picking up golf balls, $37.66 net after taxes. I still remember my pay stub. And there were golf course ponds. So I liked to fish. I got a free golf cart. I'd take my fishing rods. I'd pick up the golf balls. I'd deliver my newspapers. And when I delivered my newspapers, there were 2 lakes that I loved to fish. The front lake in front of the community where I grew up. And then there were 2 lakes across Route 3, which is a major highway, believe it or not. And the guy I played quarterback growing up in football. The guy that was my center, Clinton Parks, his family was the caretaker for 2 private ponds. They were spring fed, and they were adjacent to a river called the Patuxent River. And that's where I fished. So I spent $150 of my hard-earned money when I was a paper boy to buy a lifetime subscription to Bassmaster magazine. I literally couldn't wait for each subscription to come out because I'd read about a new technique, a lure, right? A floating worm. I can remember throwing a man's jelly worm with a swivel on the front and seeing in that clear water spring-fed pond that great jelly worm and put a kink in it and literally swim that worm through some aquatic, whatever that grass was. I didn't even know what the grass was back then, and watch a 2 or 3 pound bass come out and eat it. That sealed the deal. Another thing, and I recently cut some of it up. Sounds crazy. So a cheap alternative to pork, because I couldn't afford it, is a trash bag. I cut a little this is a trash bag. And I put that on the back of a Johnson silver minnow. I used the gold one. And at the front lake where I grew up, it's in the shape of the name of the community. It starts with a C. And there was a big spool, where they wooden spool. When I say wooden spool, I'm talking about truck size spool. And they would have underground cable on it. Well, it rolled into the pond, and that became like cover for bass. And I took that Johnson silver minnow and I stopped it right by the spool, and I watched like a 5 pounder come out and inhale it and reel that fish in. One day I was at the front lake at Crofton. This is so cool. I got into ultralight fishing as well. I took a MEP 0 spinner, and I started with a 3, then I went to a 1, then I went to a 0, and I probably caught 20 pounds there that day, maybe 12 bass, and just slow rolling that thing. So I started slow rolling. And these are all techniques that I read about in Bassmaster magazine. And so I would log my catches as a kid. And so I have a lot of my log catches, the date, the conditions. This is from 79. Let me try to open a page and read if anybody wants to know. All right, here you go. All right, so this is from 1978, the front lake. This was August 27th, dog days of summer. Overcast, the wind 0. The lake level, it was falling. I don't know why I said that, because I guess it was droughty. The water clarity was stained. So what was I fishing? Shallow 2 to 3 foot. Johnson Gold Spoon with a 6-inch white trash bag trailer. White spinnerbait with a plastic worm on the back. How about that? Gold Spoon on top, plastic worm, quarter ounce sinker, slow jerky retrieve, spinnerbait, steady, 1 to 2 foot down. I caught a 19-inch bass. I caught a 15-inch bass and a 13-inch bass on a plastic worm.
Yeah.
One was in a cove, one was on a sandbar, and one was, I don't know, I forgot to write it down. Anyway, that's the magic for me of bass fishing was, and you ask how I got into, learning about all the lures. I was a student of the game, man, starting from when I was a kid. I love the techniques. I love the variety. I love the magic of not knowing when the bite's coming. I love being able to hack a bait, change something about a bait, make something at home, doctor it up. That's what I'm all about, man. I'm old school.
So, I mean, I know you fish tournaments, and is it Captain Scooter?
Captain Scooter Lilly, yeah, man.
Yep.
I've been a tournament fisherman for a long time, in and out of clubs, but recently started to fish with Scooter down in the Carolinas, which was really fun for me about, 6 years ago. And we've had some good success, man. And he's a dirt dauber. He likes to run the dirt. And some of our biggest wins have come out of, no water and big baits and no scope, no electronics needed. Turn them all off. Pattern fishing.
But industry wise, you're not a career bass fish. Like this kind of thing with Travis is like kind of your first foray into the underbelly of
totally, man. Totally.
The fishing industry. And then you kind of through that have started the Epic Eric's Bass Lab and
that's right.
A number of different kind of little side projects that are kind of passion projects that some of your a lot of your following kind of can order and get their hands on and stuff.
That's exactly right, man. So I'm a businessman at heart for sure. I love the business of business. And I really enjoyed, just talking to Travis about his business and throwing ideas. But, my career has mostly been built in the staffing industry. Right now I'm in technology consulting. I work for a company called the Squires Group out of Annapolis, Maryland. I'm a partner there, been there 20 years. And so my first love is business. I've started up a couple businesses in my lifetime. One was sold. It was a healthcare staffing company. I started with my former partner, Drew Conway. I started up multiple businesses with him. So I really love the business of business, but my passion has always been fishing. And so Travis really, ignited a fire in me, man. It changed my world, man. Being able to get a taste of the business, the industry side of it, Matt. BTL, got mad respect for you and the business that you and Jeffrey's built, and what you're doing now. I love tuning into shows that talk about fishing, the business of fishing, the techniques of fishing. Whether you're an electronics guy or not, whether you want to keep it old school, I think there's room for everybody in the biz, man. So as I was with Travis, I just started to collaborate with some bait makers out there. I think it first started with like TK Stanley at Tacklecraft, the June bug crankbait. And I'll hold it up for everybody because this is an iconic crankbait. I was talking to TK Stanley at Tacklecraft, who's out of Alabama. He's a custom painter. I think he's one of the best in the nation, Matt. And I said, I want to do like a worm series of crankbaits, like red shad, such a strong color. Why not a red shad? There it is. Why not a red shad crankbait? Why not a June bug crankbait? So I took this crankbait. It's an Excalibur. Bought them on sale at Dick's, $2.99. And I took multiple different colors of Sally Hansen and other brands of nail polish, and I painted a June bug crankbait. I was with Travis. Travis took me to a special spot. Travis, I think you saw a few fish on scope. I don't know. I made a cast. I wasn't really looking. It was at a bridge. I reeled that thing down and caught a fish on the first cast. It wasn't like a 7 or anything like that. And then we couldn't catch another fish no matter what we threw. So I retired this crankbait, and it's become pretty iconic. And so TK painted a bunch of June bug crankbaits, and we sold them on Smallmouth Crush. And since then, I've gotten to know Marty Burns, who's a custom balsa maker. He makes my Epic Shad, which is like a huge flat side. And I've cashed a lot of money on this in the tournament scene. I make a shallow diver and mid diver. I can't keep them in stock. I don't make a lot. They're custom runs. TK does the painting there too. And then you guys probably know Goonie Wolf makes my stickers somewhere in my Bass Lab hat. He did the original one, but got a bunch of slaps available at the Bass Lab, and collaborated with Gary Sheets at 9K Elite to make some river rat style spinner baits. Those are tourney winners, and some chatter baits with 9K Elite too. They've been some tourney winners, and they're in Bass Lab colors. Junebug, Chris Hamburger, if he's watching right now, he's the Smallmouth Crush viewer. He took my Junebug chatterbait up and won a tournament up in PA on it, which is pretty cool. So those are the things that really drive me, Matt. It's stuff I love about fishing is the creation. Anytime I can create, I'm happy.
That's cool. And you have a website?
I do, man. Yep. It's Epic Eric's Bass Lab. You can Google it; it'll come up. It's basslab.bigcartel.com. I know that's a mouthful, but basslab.bigcartel.com. If anybody wants to see the products I got out there, I've done some smallmouth stuff too. Some drop shot things that involve fur and feather and synthetic materials. And Travis allows me to fish them on the back sometimes, and it's fun, man. They catch them. I've had some good times out there.
So here's what I don't think a lot of people realize. I mean, and you know this, but like Travis is probably one of the first. So you're a full-time guide now. Mm-hmm. You fish the Bassmaster Elite Series, and you were on the PWT.
No, not the PWT.
Which you were a professional walleye angler before you were
walleye tournaments. But yeah, I fished.
That's right.
Big tournaments, yeah.
And when you made the Elite Series, you were a walleye angler who decided to try bass fishing and literally made it your first year.
Yes.
Have you gone have you told this story?
Yeah, I've been through that story. I knew nothing about fishing when I was on the Elite Series. That's a true story.
What made you want to sign up for the Opens?
I went to the first ever Bassmaster Elite Series on Lake Amistad when Ish Monroe won. And I fished with, I hung out with guys I crashed that night with Aaron Martins and Byron Velvick. And,
oh my gosh.
And all those guys that were on tour back then. And
Hall of Famers.
Yeah. And we just I was like, man, this is my groove. So.
And then you made it and had to figure out how to bass fish.
I made it in a year.
What did you know when you made the Elite Series? In 2010, what was your strong suit? And
yeah, great question.
What didn't you know that you didn't even know you didn't know till you got out there?
I don't think I ever punched for a fish. I never punched a mat.
So heavy grass flipping.
Never flipped.
You had never flipped. You never done a jig and pig flipping?
No.
Let's just say, what had you done?
Well, top waters for smallmouth.
Okay.
There you go. Did you drop shot at all?
Man, that was
our early days.
It wasn't right, dude. My drop shotting skills were not right.
What was your strength back in 2009 bass fishing?
Throwing a Rapala DT.
Not a bad choice.
Honestly.
So you pretty much cranked and spooked. I'm asking this seriously.
I struggled on the Elites. I think my best finish was 12th on Wheeler.
DT?
Yeah.
Topwater?
No, DT.
So did you throw a DT and a topwater exclusively on the Elite Series?
No.
What plastics did you have? Okay, you drop shot it.
Mystery Lake in Green Bay. I had a good finish there.
What were you drop shotting back then?
I wouldn't know. Probably RoboWorm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Standard stuff.
Yeah. Tubes. I could throw a tube.
There you go.
I could rock a tube.
Right on.
Just trying to think of the things that qualified me for the Elite. So Champlain was a tube. Chesapeake was a spinner bait. And Erie was a drop shot. So I kind of got things dialed in.
There you go.
Spots. It wasn't patterns.
Had you fished across the country at that point?
Never out of Wisconsin, no. Or Lake Poygan or Lake Winnebago.
When you were on the Elites, you lived in Wisconsin, right?
Bass fish.
Yeah.
Except
for the 3 Opens.
Okay. When you were on the Elites, were you living in Wisconsin, Travis?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you made the elites. Where was the first one?
Harris Chain.
Did you have any idea what you were in for?
No, but I was in like 20th on day one, and Zona comes up to me, he's like, "Good work today." I'm like, "Yeah, drop shot." No, I did drop shot, I guess.
Yeah.
No one was drop shotting.
No, I drop shot at Kissimmee Grass.
Oh, dude, if you had
heck yeah.
you'd be a freaking billionaire now.
Yeah. No.
Yep.
What happened on day 2?
The wind direction changed, and KVD came in throwing a square bill on my shit and wrecked them.
Wait, KVD pushed you off of your spot on day 2 of your rookie season?
I couldn't drop shot anymore.
Why do you pick up a spinnerbait or something, man? Like a moving bait? Because you said you qualified in the Well, no, you said you qualified in the opens by using a drop shot, a spinnerbait, and a DT6, right?
Anything though, you just go to these lakes. You would have 0 waypoints, 0 hope. You literally show up at the lake.
Yeah, and
go practice.
And I was sponsored by.
DT10.
My first bait sponsor was Power Team Lures, and I thought you had to only throw Power Team Lures the whole event.
I mean, that's technically supposed to work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would throw Power Team Lures
the whole time.
Really?
You didn't throw the jig rig. You didn't flip that around a little bit. No crawl derv. Nothing.
The worm.
Yeah. The finicky tickler.
3 years?
2. And
Okay.
Trip called me up and said, "Hey, bud, we need your deposit for next year." And I was kind of broke.
Who were your sponsors? How'd you get in?
Well,
Where'd
no,
you get
I
the
took
money?
a loan out.
Oh, you took
Okay.
a loan out to fish the Elite Series and had never bass fished before.
Right.
That's a bold strategy.
Yeah.
Travis is a risk taker.
I have noticed that in my time with him.
He will take risks for sure.
Yeah.
Was that a fun time though? I mean,
Loved it. Mm-hmm.
Would you do it again if you had a chance?
That's my question.
Oh, sorry, Eric.
No, that's good. That's good. For elites, is that what you'd want to do again?
I don't know if it's possible to try again.
Why?
Just because the EQ is so hard, all 9 opens?
I think to qualify is hard. I think I know the dirty side of it now, too.
What do you mean?
Well, you're either, I mean, technically, to fish on the elites, you got to have some money, and whether it comes from you working hard or your parents or a business that you own,
Sure.
you have to have a lot of money to do it.
What do you think it takes these days to fish the elites?
I don't know. I mean, you still have to support your household and everything else, like hundreds of thousands of dollars to try to qualify.
Panger, what say you? I mean, you're out there trying to qualify, Panger. What do you say?
It costs $40,000 to $50,000 a year to try to qualify, and I think you better be able to have $100,000 to make it through a year, and that's
time off.
Wow.
That's me, like no kids, not currently married.
Wow.
I mean,
That's a tough sled.
Do it right to where you're not like freaking out every week.
Sure. Where you're not stressing.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it now, the opens, you're gone longer than you are for the Elite Series because we get 4.5 days of practice and there's 9. I think there's 8 Elite Series.
Well,
with
plus
2.5 days
just
of
the
practice.
network, the gray areas, the rules, the information you get. You know.
So KBD derailed.
No, that was kind of
what
he didn't
Crappie
push me
Ted
off the
was
spot.
saying.
What I meant by that comment was I saw the area wrecking them, square bill, and the same stuff I was drop shotting.
Did you not have a square bill in your boat?
I didn't adjust. That's all.
Okay, gotcha. You stuck with it too long.
If you don't bass fish every day.
Right.
Yeah, true.
What's harder, getting into the walleye tournament scene or the bass fishing scene?
I think both. I think it's you have to have a passion for trying to learn and I mean, I wish I knew. You should have saw my gear on the Elite Series.
Like what
I had reels that would spinning reels that would the anti-reverse wouldn't work, so they would just reel backwards too. Like I'm like the first ever person on the Elite Series to get like a bird's nest with a spinning reel. Yeah. Like I did not have I'm pretty dialed in nowadays, but back then My shit is,
dude, you're dialed in, like not pretty dialed in. You'll attest to this, Eric. He's dialed in.
Oh yeah,
No.
he spares no expense with gear, and he takes care of it, and he's prepared.
Do you wish
There's
you
no
could
doubt.
back at it knowing what you know now, or
Yeah,
was it like a
for
time
sure.
in your life when you were like, you know what, I'm glad I did that?
no, I'd go back.
You'd spend that money, that $100,000 of your
Yeah.
money.
Oh yeah.
You would. Wow.
What if
That's
say
saying something.
Bass announces in the very near
Anyone
future?
can come back that fished it?
No, but
Oh.
like perhaps a new series or a new format that is less qualifying events but more payback at the end.
Maybe.
Okay.
You know, I wrote an email to Trip.
Hypothetically.
I wrote an email to Trip. Remember when they lost all the their members from, you know, to go to MLF?
Yeah.
And they were looking for people to fish the Elite Series, and they gave invites to people who never fished
You
up.
were like, hey,
I wrote Trip. I'm like, I'd love to come back.
what did he say?
I don't think he responded to me. But I
Wow.
sent him.
You did good
Yeah.
good in the Mississippi River, right? And
I
then you
had some
did
good
good-
events.
you had
Yeah,
some really good events.
It's
I
not like
remember
I
that.
sucked. I
Yeah.
just ran out of money.
And you had you had a look. You were unique because you
Yeah.
literally had the visor with the spiky hair and all
Sure.
that. I remember you'd gallivant about in the jersey.
Yes,
He was a patch pirate.
I was.
What would you do now? What would you wear? Smallmouth Crush only?
I would be pretty independent. Yeah.
You would?
Yeah. I'm not into flash anymore.
Yeah.
Low profile. I don't want to wrap boat, wrap truck. I mean, obviously you'd have to have that, but
Yeah.
it
You
would be
wouldn't,
very.
you wouldn't do a smallmouth crush? Like something?
I doubt it.
You'd have to do like a flat gray boat with the red smallmouth crush.
I
on
just
the
like
side.
to be left alone and just fish.
Well, you have to have a rat.
He just wants to be left alone and fish.
Kind
You
of-
and Jacob Fouts could travel together then.
Not like that. I'll promote products I
No,
believe in.
Travis loves guiding.
That's another thing.
I'm messing
like
with you,
The
Travis.
products I represent, I would represent them even if they didn't give me anything.
Right.
And
Yeah,
that's
you've always
that's
maintained that independence. That's good.
I use stuff that works, and that's
Sure.
right. You
That's
know?
right. That's the way to be, man.
How did you get hooked up with GLF, Great Lakes Finesse?
Okay, so Great Lakes Finesse. So the owner at the time actually had another business that had, it was like a discount program where you get discount codes to other bait companies.
Okay.
And so I did some videos on that, and he knew I was kind of a smallmouth guy, and obviously Great Lakes Finesse is a smallmouth company, or you know, Great Lakes, you know, this region-oriented baits. And so we just started talking, and he approached me. You know, they only had 3 or 4 baits in their lineup, and I said, you know, I'd love to create a product, a bait for you, and represent it. And here's what I'm looking for. And I gave him the exact details of what I wanted. And normally, when you think of a bait that you want, there's a lot of work that goes into it. It really took weeks to come to life, you know, because I was pretty precise on what I was looking for, and it just worked out that way. So it was definitely a good partnership at the time.
Same thing with East Coast.
Same thing with Beast Coast. We just, you know, we have the open water sniper jig, which is a finesse football head. If you grab that, I'll give you your first look at the newest product that's going to be launching.
Oh, that's your hair.
We're coming out with a hair jig. I don't know if Beast Coast is going to get mad at me for sharing this with you guys, but
screw it.
Let's do it. Take a look at this thing. So
go full screen.
So this is the new Beast Coast. This is the samples that they just sent me last week. And
so these aren't out yet?
These are not out yet. They will be. You tell me what you think of that little bad boy. It's cute.
I mean, I'm not the guy to ask about hair because I've caught about 10 fish on it.
I got you.
hold it close, Matt.
I get to do this with
There you
Epic
go.
Eric in the background.
Look at that bad boy.
Yeah.
So what makes a good hair jig? Walk me through what makes a good hair, Travis.
Well, first of all, sourcing the marabou is important, right?
No, what does that mean?
Just having the right flow.
What's the right flow?
Some hair jigs are all wadded up. You ever pull a hair jig out of the package and it like you cast it and it doesn't even like sink?
Yeah.
Floats on the water. That's how you get it wet, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of bulkiness to it, but we kind of streamline that. The proper hook.
What's the proper hook?
Probably a BKK hook.
Okay.
It is a BKK hook.
Yeah. Tungsten head. We got little eyes in it. We got a hook, a keeper on it, where you'll be able to put some extra plastic up on it. I mean, I love it. I think they hit a home run. A lot of different colors they're going to offer. I'm pretty much straight black, okay? But they have a lot of different colors. And I'm sure there's a time and place. I mean, maybe black and purple.
Okay.
Yeah. But it works. And we have a few other products coming out as well here in the future. So I'm excited about that. But
with Beast Coast or with Great Lakes Finesse?
With Beast Coast. Yep.
Okay. Gotcha.
Great Lakes Finesse just came out. We had them on our live show a week ago or 2 weeks ago now. But they came out with a larger size drop minnow, which is something I use a lot for, shaking a minnow, drop shotting, Ned rig, things like that. A lot of underspin. There's a lot of applications for that. And they
beetle spin too.
Beetle spin as well. We tested that up. Yeah,
I sure did.
Right. I don't know the details. That's all up to
like this package. Literally is written on it what it is by. I'm assuming those people. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't appreciate this as much as I should.
Really?
Well, I mean, Oklahoma is not really a hair jig mecca.
Yeah.
For little hair, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, it looks fantastic. Like, yeah, have at it.
Yeah.
Oh my! All right,
your little hair.
Here's what we're gonna do. I think we're gonna wrap things up for the night.
All right.
Travis, like I said in the last episode, over on Smallmouth Crush, you actually called up and were like, "Hey, you want to go catch some salmon and lake trout?" And you took the boat, loaded to the hilt out, decked out, that doubles as a duck boat. And I mean, you can look at the Smallmouth Crush guide service, and it says bass, walleye, perch, salmon, trout, ducks.
Yeah.
All sorts of stuff. So it's very convenient because I also have guide day, which I try to run about twice a month, which just kind of highlights area guides. One of the best, I think probably the most popular episode is I had Big JP in studio.
Sure.
In Oklahoma. And you're kind of the one that got JP is starting guiding.
Yep.
Actually. So we're going to record a guide day with Travis that dives
That's awesome.
That dives into everything St. Lawrence River, not just smallmouth. Actually, your smallmouth guide client base, I would venture to say you're like number one on the river, probably.
I don't want to compare, but I will say this. I treat it as if I'm making millions of dollars a year, and this is like my deal. Like I am.
Is he number one on the river, Eric?
I'm pretty hard freaking working, I'll tell you that.
I'm gonna say I don't know much about the guides up there, but the dude's hard working, and so you're gonna have a spectacular day up there no matter what. You're gonna learn a lot too.
I want to talk about the walleye and the perch because I caught an 813 walleye today.
Yep.
Which was my personal best by far. I was literally last night talking about how I'd never caught like a walleye over 6.5, and I hooked something today. And I wasn't with Travis. Travis had guide clients today. I was with my buddy, and I was like, so this is either a 7-pound smallmouth or a walleye. And that thing popped up from 50 foot down, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Right.
But,
Heck yeah.
And when we went out, Darren caught a 20-pound lake trout.
Yes,
there's giant, like I remember the first time we got to share a boat together, Travis took us out and we friggin'
perch fishing.
Smoked the perch, had like 30, 35 like yellow perch. It's a really cool fishery. So that's what we'll dive into.
All right. I like that.
Dive into guide.
It turns out perch like little pieces of mac scent. All you have to do is cut it
and
put it on the hook.
That.
I was using that, dude.
Yep. Crawler, and you were catching him on the mac scent.
He was mad rod.
I know. You guys got the nice St. Croix ones, man. I got the cheap Bass Pro one or something.
Yeah. All right. real quick, wrap it up, Travis. Tell them where they can find everything Smallmouth Crush, when you guys run, when you guys air.
Yep. All right. For me, it's all smallmouthcrush.com is the website. And then the YouTube channel, Smallmouth Crush, Instagram, Smallmouth Crush. We do a live show 8 p.m. Eastern, and I try to get a bunch of videos out when I can. I guess the next video that will be out is my new boat. And
let's go.
Yeah, we'll do a bunch of, hopefully get out on the water. I don't get much time to fish by myself anymore, so it's hard to make videos like I used to.
We try to make some videos when I come up there, man. Check out the one that we cranked. It was one of the best crankbait days ever. Burning a crankbait with Travis up at Lake Ontario, man. When we get together, we do some juicy stuff, man. We get it going.
Eric the
Bass
Mob
Cartel.
I was gonna say Eric the Mob Boss or something.
You can follow me at Epic Eric Official on Instagram. I also have Epic Eric's Bass Lab and my passion project, which I will do one day. You can follow me across the country as I visit every legendary lake that I've read about since I've been a kid and a lifetime subscriber of Bassmaster Magazine. And maybe there'll be some collaborations along the way.
That's cool.
Stay tuned.
Maybe sticker.
Yeah, man. What do you want? What do you want?
I want the OG. I want like the Epic Eric's Bass Lab, and then
this one.
And then the one that I had the smallmouth one on the boat.
Oh, smallmouth super tanker, St. Lawrence super tanker. Yeah. Those are pretty fat, man. No doubt. Those are awesome. They're great stickers.
All right, this has been another edition of BTL Bass Talk Live. We'll talk to everybody. Stay tuned to the website, by the way.
There's your super tanker.
Yeah, that was it. That's cool. You can get those on the website.
That's right. You get them on the website, man, at the Bass Lab. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate you having me on, man. I enjoyed it very, very much. Travis, as always, good job, bud.
Yeah. You got anything else, or we wrap this thing up?
I'm getting back to my shipwrecks to the Great Lake.
That's a good book. All right, guys, that's it. Stay tuned to the website, like I said, basszone.com, kind of for updates on what we got coming out. Yeah, I do need some mosquito repellent. My legs are absolutely
Look how many people died in this one.
We'll talk to everyone later. See ya.
11 people.